Hey S'mores, I'm Shannon Morse. Welcome to Morse Code. If you are looking for in-depth tech and gadget content, you have come to the right place. Make sure to subscribe down below. This video is not going to necessarily be a tech video, but it's going to be my review of my 2020. Kind of how it began, how it went, and how it's going. A lot, like a whole lot, has changed this year, and that impacts my channel and my shows. So I wanted to share that and catch y'all up with everything that has been happening, because it has been very, very different than what I had first expected it to be this year. I lived in the San Francisco Bay Area for about 10 years before starting a search for a home in mid-2019. My husband and I found this home in December, and then the holidays happened, and then I went to CES in January. So all I had on my mind that entire time was like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to buy a house. I can't wait to buy a house and move out of the San Francisco Bay Area, which is too expensive. It's overcrowded. I was living really close to an industrial area, like an oil refinery, and I didn't feel very healthy living there. So literally the day after I flew home from CES, it was like 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. Whenever I eventually got back home, we flew here to Colorado to sign the paperwork and get our house keys the next morning. So I had to wake up crazy early. I was so exhausted after CES and my husband was exhausted too. We missed the alarm for the Colorado flight, and we almost missed the flight out of Oakland. Like we had to go very quickly down the highway, and we had to run through the airport to the point like they were calling our names on the intercom. Like, thank God we have TSA pre-check, because if we didn't, we would have missed our flight. Like, they were closing the gate. I was so stressed out. I had no time to brush my teeth until we were on the flight. We finally moved in March. We kind of waited until the majority of the snow had chilled out so we could safely drive out here, because we straight up just hired some dudes to put boxes in a truck, and then Mr. Snubs drove said truck all the way here from California, and he was exhausted. He never driven a moving truck, so that was crazy scary. But we moved in, and we moved in the week that everything closed down because of the pandemic. In a sense, we had timed it really well. Had we tried to move a month later or even a week later, it would have been much harder to find hotels to stay at along the way, public bathrooms along the route to stop at. At most, I think the hardest thing for us was restocking our empty kitchen. We had no food, thanks to everybody that decided to hoard things like sugar and flour, the staples. Freaking mac and cheese. I couldn't find mac and cheese to eat for like 2 or 3 months, and that's one of my staple foods for lunchtime. It was so irritating. Let alone toilet paper. Think whatever forethought I had to keep our remaining toilet paper from our apartment in San Francisco and use it as packing supplies to stick around things in my boxes so that the things in the boxes wouldn't break. Because had I not done that, then I don't know if we would have had any toilet paper in the new house for a couple of weeks. So from a personal sense, moving to a new place and being a very social person, but not being able to go out and make any new friends or discover local businesses in the area for the first half of the year, it was really hard. And it's still hard to this point in time. My mentality is that of a social butterfly. I love going out and meeting people. If you put me in a room where I know absolutely no one, by the end of the day, I will have made a few friends. The pandemic, I think, has made me realize that I'm an extreme extrovert, and it makes you feel less joy, less happiness every day that goes on where you cannot make those connections in person. Like, I miss going to conventions and meeting people. And I feel like next time I go to DEF CON, I'm gonna hug everybody that I cross paths with or give everybody high fives. Hopefully we have a vaccine by then. But I have filled my waking hours with work, with tasks that are really, really productive. We furnished this house already. The entire house is already furnished. I spent countless hours poring over websites trying to find like the perfect dresser or the perfect media console, because all the furniture stores were closed. And since we spent so much time at home, I made it my job to make our home look kind of like the model homes that we had originally looked at. But even buying furniture was really hard this year, because like we needed to get some cushy things to sit on, and we couldn't test said cushy things in a store before we bought them. So who knows if they would actually be comfortable. That was kind of annoying, but luckily we did get somewhat lucky, and everything we bought I really like. So my research paid off. So then over the summer we got a puppy. Her name is Suki. So training ended up being a part of our daily routine. Puppies are hard work, and I rediscovered my attention to detail when it comes to things like home manicures. And as far as work goes, I have streamlined my live streaming setup with better audio and better video, like things that I had really wanted to focus on. So I focused down on my own niche of educating consumers and pro users about technology and security and privacy on my own channel. And I have gotten to finish projects that I did not think that I would get to because of all this time that we've had at home. So in a sense, when things started getting bad in the springtime, I told myself, okay, 2020 is the year that I finish those projects that I have been meaning to do. I wanted to set myself up for success. It's the year that I develop a process for my shows, which I'm still working towards that goal of making my entire job more efficient and automating some processes that take up way too much time. But everything that I have been doing this year has gotten me closer to that goal of feeling really successful and feeling really productive. Since I haven't been traveling anywhere and not having to plan any parties or get-togethers for an entire year, which does suck because I miss hanging out with people, but it's also allowed for me to focus on my work all the time without feeling like I'm missing out on some kind of social life, because I don't feel bad for having to cancel a dinner date because my work is running late, because there are no dinner dates right now. Does that make sense? I hope it does. So instead of filling that time where I would be hanging out with friends with something that's unintentional, I have filled that void with projects that keep my mind working and keep me feeling accomplished. So I don't really get a chance to sit down and get really deep with my thoughts about how sad it is to be stuck at home and not be able to make any friends in this new place that I'm living at. I'm just hoping that next year it's a little bit different. So what happens next year? Well, the house is decorated. I think it looks really good. I think I did a great job. I have finished projects that have been sitting on my desk for years, like my Synology NAS server that I turned into a Plex server. It's awesome. Our puppy is on a schedule and she's so quick to train. We've got her really trained. So now I can look towards the future. Now, do you remember that basement studio that I had originally showed y'all before we actually moved in, right after we got the keys? This is a bedroom that I'm recording in. It's a bit bigger than the previous room that I was using in San Francisco, but it's not nearly enough space. I still struggle with glare. Like if I look at my lights, whenever I move my head around, you still see glare in my glasses, which is going to happen even though these have anti-reflective coating on them. It still happens because I can't move my lights any farther away from where they currently are. They are not in a perfect position, and I know that from working in professional studios, but I can't do anything about it because the space is still too small. My edit station is downstairs in a different room. My big goal to accomplish in the basement studio, that's what I want to do in 2021. I want to have everything in one space instead of having, the bedroom studio, the edit station downstairs, and then whatever else is happening in my life. So the goal is save up, finance, and build out that basement into a workspace. So that means everything from insulating the ceilings and the walls, drywall, painting, wiring Ethernet lines, wiring power, lots and lots and lots of can lighting, lots of lighting inputs, heck, even putting power in the ceiling so I can mount my lights on the ceiling instead of having them stuck on tripods. I feel like that would be so cool. Maybe putting in a small bathroom down there if we can afford it so that I don't have to run upstairs whenever I have to check my hair or finish my makeup. Creating a space where all of the components of my job go. So the sets, the lighting, the camera, the audio equipment, the edit station, the live streaming rig, the photography, all of it lives in one space, one efficient, built-in, built-to-spec space. That's my dream. So that is what I have been building towards. That's why I have focused so hard on getting stuff done this year, so that next year I can focus on that basement space, that studio space. We bought our house because we saw the potential in an unfinished basement to be exactly what I want it to be for my job. Not only that, but also because we didn't want to live in California anymore. I want to make that happen as soon as possible. So I have a really positive outlook for 2021. I'm excited. We just started the first chapter. Ooh, I'm getting chills. We just started the first chapter in our Colorado life, and I am so ready for chapter 2. I'm so ready for it to start because I feel like this is just the beginning of the next step in my career, and it's the beginning of the next part of our relationship and the part of our life, and it's exciting. So I am curious if you're ready for 2021 to start too. I know I am. I have so much in store. I can't wait to share everything that I have ready to go and everything that I'm planning, all my goals with you. It's so exciting. But until then, I hope that you are enjoying these last few days of 2020. I hope that you stay safe. I hope that my s'mores stick around and stay subscribed. I'm so happy that we hit so many goals for the channel this year. That was crazy. I did not expect the growth that I saw on the channel this year, but it still happened. And I think that shows me that I'm doing something right. So I'm going to keep doing it. So stay safe. I will see you next year. Oh, actually, I think I have one more video this year, but I will see you next time. Bye, y'all.